Hello, welcome. I am Fikili, the Dark Feminina. Welcome back. I would like to just give a reading from the Hebrew Bible this time. My last video I referred to the Kyalo TuTuSi, Masr Egypt, the Rio Empet Heru and Hair, Book of Coming Forth Today from Night. Sometimes from day to night, often known as the Egyptian Book of the Dead, and it's a very long prayer, and the theme is of the man, the Pharaoh, facing judgment, having in the unto the next life, and we all need those prayers. The Hebrew Bible. This is the King James version of the Bible, and I love the Creator. Therefore, I love the Bibles of Kyalo TuTuSi, of Kyalo Jew, that is Judah, the entire kingdom of Judah, Israel, and the Bibles that feature the Netr, the gods of Egypt and of other areas of Kyalo and of other areas of the world. The real versions are holy and definitely worth understanding. They're called myths these days, but they are in fact holy Bibles. They take more understanding because the world's been taught that they oppose the Hebrew Bible, but they don't. It's just understanding how they're all spoken from the one Creator is takes prayer and Delineare and explore. There is a good reason to mention voodoo, as many of you will know that there can name their Netr, their gods, the lower, with the particular Christian saint, apostle, Hebrew prophet that they are also enjoined with, actually, in the tradition of whether before their time, variously depending on the prophets or the apostles, and or after, that they do actually holily blend. You may say they are part of the Creator's gift to creation. And here, the first book of Moses, called Genesis, chapter 1. Ready? In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God moved upon the waters. And God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. And God saw the light, that it was good, and God divided the light from the darkness. And God called the light day, and the darkness He called night. And the evening and the morning were the first day. And God said, "Let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters." And God made the firmament, and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament. And it was so. And God called the firmament heaven. And the evening and the morning were the second day. And God said, "Let the waters under the heaven be gathered together unto one place, and let the dry land appear." And it was so. And God called the dry land earth, and the gathering together of the waters called He seas. And God saw that it was good. And further on, still in Genesis, in chapter 2, In Genesis chapter 2, it begins, "Thus the heavens and the earth were finished, and all the host of them. And on the seventh day God ended his work which he had made, and he rested on the seventh day from all his work which he had made." And there's an explan at the very beginning of the book. His Majesty King James the first translated this Bible, and there's a foreword. It's the Holy Bible containing the Old and New Testaments, translated out of the original tongues, and with the former translations diligently compared and revised, by His Majesty's special command, appointed to be read in churches. Authorized King James Version, printed by authority, and reprinted here by Collins Bible, the Harper Collins publisher. And I know some people fear other versions of the Bible, the New International Version or the Jerusalem Bible, or convinced that only the King James Version of the Bible is accurate. Some even consider the other Bibles not holy, but it's very sad. It's no, it's too much, because the NIV was also translated by a team of scholars, not like two people, and the criticisms of the Old Testament and the New Testament translations obviously was originally written in Hebrew, and then Greek and Latin. There are the Holy Spirit is trying to communicate with humanity, and at different times, sometimes I prefer myself the older translations that refer to the behemoth, the giant lizards, the dinosaurs, rather than just calling them large whales or or something that. But the Creator has been very creative, and so even the translations of the Bible that we maybe they don't hit us here as much as maybe other translations. They are all holy. The New International Version was written by a team of scholars with reference to who could speak Hebrew, and I know, yes, maybe some of them are not Hebrew in upbringing, but the Hebrew people, for one thing, have been living in these lands in England, in the British Isles, all throughout the British Isles. There's always been some Hebrew people here, and for more than the last 2,500 years, who were willing to teach people and show people about their culture and their in the past, which doesn't happen as much anymore, beyond certain church groups and meetings, orders, various religious orders, including the Knights Templar, the Freemasons, various other orders, traditional orders throughout the world, actually, and also the sororities and fraternities at universities that do teach accurately and are not the scariest places, groups of people. I mean the people who are faithfully trying to live according to the Creator's teaching. And we are not one-dimensional, as we all know, as human beings. The Creator is not one-dimensional, and it's good to be aware of how the Creator has sought to communicate with different nations and different generations. we need the Hebrew Bible. We need the Bibles of Kyalo, TuTuSi, and we're going to get nowhere as humanity, as creation, if we're trying to denounce and just offend Jehovah, Yahweh, in favor of, well, my God, my version of religion, my traditional religion, faith, belief says such and such. And it's usually because the person hasn't been taught enough. Not everybody belongs to Freemasons. And even when people do belong to an order, whether the Freemasons or another group, that isn't all about just being terrifying, and human beings can go a bit wrong, but it used to be known to be necessary teaching. Royom, everything I've been teaching in my videos, mentioning in my posts, tweets, it's not new to humanity. The reason I started teaching it is because not enough people knew, and they were being pulled, and are still being pulled through their doubts and their fears into the most awful versions of groups, the most awful versions of cults, and it can creep into the real ones, and then has to be the wrong understanding has to be expelled again. It's very sad. I mean, I personally honor all of those groups for everything that is holy, that they are about, and that they're teaching, and that they're doing. It's been very necessary. Otherwise, secretive. It was to preserve knowledge. It's in a world that was rapidly heading in Europe to becoming atheist, for one thing, and people ill-using the Bible, ill-using every religion, every variety, either because they felt threatened by a Europe that 200, 300 years ago ended up almost with the upper hand, due to people around the world. Actually, it's a collective, people choosing evil causes the withdrawal of blessings, of goodness from your nation, from your kingdom. And it's a difficult thing to say, because so much has happened that is just not right, that various European people have done to other nations. But it's not all bad that they were doing, but it's hard to get a hearing, because some of the people who want to defend the British Empire or the French Empire or the Spanish Empire do it in the most unholy, racist ways that are just inaccurate and offensive. You don't have to say silly things. Africa didn't have the wheel, didn't have the horse, didn't have electricity, didn't have governments, didn't all sorts of really silly things that make the people who say it, if they only understood, look ill-taught and silly. It's and the same goes for every tribal people, called tribal people around the world, that have been written off as, rudimentary, basic. Weren't they lucky to have the British or the French or the Germans or the Spanish or the Portuguese turn up and help them, or the Scandinavians even turn up and help them know how to be governments when when they it's silliness. It doesn't make explaining why the British Empire happened and why it wasn't all evil and bad easy at all. You're in the way. Stop doing it. Ignorant versions in the way. So, and every country in the world has had an empire at some point. It's just the European empires are the most recent. apart from the Arabian empires. But it's and the Asian empires. But obviously, the most worldwide recent has been the European empires. It's and empires are set by the Creator. Their times, the Bible does say, are set. There are limits to each empire. And empire is not wrong. Empire is an idea of the Creator. The changing performer, long performer, it does limit the time of ascendancy of a particular kingdom over other kingdoms, or even region over another region. I love the Bible. I could talk about this a bit more, and I do intend to. Just not that I haven't said it already, but still, from watching the news, there's too much confusion, and it comes from not regarding the Creator, not regarding essential truths of life that have come from the one Creator through all the kingdoms, through all the religions that the Creator himself, Goddess and God are one, have given humanity. I love the Creator, and I wish more people would have the interest in not battering me, battering what I'm teaching, but trying to understand how Kyalo TuTuSi and Kyalo Jew, that is Egypt and Israel, are bound together in the Creator's mind, in the Creator's foresight. So the end times prophecy comes with both, and to try excluding one or the other, oh, I don't need Israel anymore, it's a time of Kyalo, that's not it. It's inaccurate. They are together. They're different kingdoms, of course, different continents, but they are, by the Creator's design, together in the end times prophecy, in the Seguda prophecy. It's good to be open to have I understood various Bible passages not in the right way, honoring the gods in ways that do not please the gods. They don't please the Netr. The Netr are the gods of Egypt, and each language has a word for the Netr. Honoring them in the wrong way, worshipping them in the wrong way. The spirit of the Creator is in them, and you do justice in their name. Of course, you got thundered at by God through the Bible. Of course they did. That's not right. Any more than using the Bible to be unjust. It's not right. It's because they go together. There is no separation between them. But that understanding has gone missing because people are not, they're not being taught so well, usually, and the Netr, remember, are human beings, elevated, deified by the Creator in the same way the saints are, and they rank between the angels and the saints, and they're just holy, and they can help you with the understanding. They bring people to the Hebrew Bible. They bring people to the New Testament because they believe it. And in their time, in Kyalo TuTuSi, Mizraim, Masr book, BC, they were waiting for the Segudu prophecy to unfold in each generation. The goddess Ashu, Hathor, she recorded me years ago now that the Ankh, this Egyptian cross, it was a sign of the sufferings of the Christ to come. The idea that they didn't believe in Jehovah, the Jehovah of many names, of more than one incarnation into life, first of all in Kyalo TuTuSi, is inaccurate, and it's so sad that so few people are either willing to say it when they're not bound by a code of secrecy, or it's a pity because it seems as if it's just me. And usually people want either or, because they're not understanding the Bible well enough, they're not understanding the Netr well enough, and so they're in these two angry camps bashing away at each other. And it's really sad and has led to tragedies, as we know, of people killing in the name of God, or in the name of, well, my religion's okay, I don't want you lot here, so I'm going to kill you, I'm going to kill your missionaries. And it really necessary that people understand better, that more people understand better, and that the elderly, as I've said before, they do know all this, but they're elderly people can be frailer, and it can be the evil version of death cults, the evil version of cults, of the evil versions of Christianity, the evil versions of worshipping the Netr and the older Christianity, that is the traditional religions of the world, scare people. They're why this teaching is undertaught. BA is not funny. It's not cute. It couldn't be, and it can't do good. It can't hide your secrets for you. It doesn't even want to. You need holy to hide your secrets. True goodness. Get it right, people. Instead of slandering me and calling me unholy and leading people astray, you get yourself just trusting goodness. You may have the hat of Christianity, of Bible believing, but in your heart, faced with problems, you're trusting evil. You're trusting into just being unjust to me or to a member of my family. I am the reigning Cleopatra. And you think that's going to hide your secrets. It's going to get you protection or wealth or safety or a job or your secrets hidden or success. And life doesn't work like that. Evil begets evil. And then you'll be complaining, having chosen to be unjust, that the government's made a decision that you don't like. I say everybody in the personal responsibilities pool. I often put people in holy pools, in the Blessed Requedo pools. Just wholly put the world in. Because holy gets rid of bad ideas. It can get rid of illness. We each got our own destiny. Sometimes the person's ill no matter how holy they are, because it's their time to suffer. I mean, when they're not secretly holding on to being, to the wrong kind of darkness, or the wrong kind of whiteness, actually. The spiritual compras, the wrong versions of anything that's come from heaven is just an evil nightmare. Unjust is what evil is, and it just wastes people's life for people's ignorance and lack of faith at heart in the Creator, in the power of the Creator. God is able. So the Creator is able. Nkulunkulu is able, whichever religious tradition, faith, belief you're in. Of course, the Creator, Goddess and God are one, is able. And you can pray, no matter what your situation in life, no matter, you can pray in your mind. As I've often said, you don't have to tell everybody that you're praying, but you do need to pray. And your Delineare, your Pasha, your Explorer, your Plum, your Delving, it needs to be honorable. It needs to be genuinely Spirit, Holy Spirit, Spirit of the Creator filled. Otherwise, it's just a nonsense, and you're offending the Creator. You're offending Mungu, Umundu, Umenzi. You know, you're offending the Dieu instead of honoring, because you're not being faithful in the way you're asking the questions. And that some of you ask the questions faithfully, but you don't render, you don't tell the result faithfully. Well, that needs to stop. And people who are frightened of any form of divinary, even the Urim and Thurim, the Thummim of the Bible, of the Old Testament, that is a divination. And that's how we come by the dates of Easter traditionally. Ramadan began in Kyalo TuTuSi book. It actually in honor of the creative feminina nut. It's nuts festival. It's nuts period of fasting. There is nothing new under heaven. As the Creator spoke through King Solomon in 950-ish BC book. And it wasn't new when he spoke it. So times AD, there's nothing new. There's nothing that the churches do that the ancient Egyptians didn't do, that the ancient Greeks didn't do. There's nothing new under heaven. There isn't a robe, there isn't a language, there isn't a religious tradition, there isn't a religious ritual, there isn't a way of doing anything, of understanding anything that wasn't already taught humanity in times before 1 AD. So we owe some respect, not insults, slander to our ancestors of times, and even of times in more recent times. People understood a lot more than is apparent because the histories are just under taught, and a lot of books are no longer in print, and people have become afraid of reprinting them, of referring to them, even because these evil death cults would rather kill everybody. And that's why they tell you to ill-treat certain people, especially royal people, especially royal and ducal persons who are not known to be. That's why certain film stars are in trouble. Whether they know who they are or in their Rees selves, their daily selves or not, that's why they're being accused. The evil death cults, they do know that people are unwilling to acknowledge the spiritual, to acknowledge the miraculous and Heka and the different lives that we all have. The one soul, many selves in many different lives, sometimes merging. And that's Reem, when this Ray daily life merges with the inner Ivri worlds. Reem, some call it Breen, some call it Dream. But they can be, ourselves are real people. And so people are suffering. People can be stabbed through Reem. The Ray self is somewhere, and maybe you're having an argument, and the reason the person has a stab wound isn't, even if you had a knife in your hand, even if the two of you did and you were just having an argument, the reason that the one was stabbed isn't either who were there arguing. Someone did it through Reem. And yes, it sounds like a craziness, except it does explain to those who've tried investigating some of these killings, things that just don't add up. They couldn't add up because they didn't all happen in this life. And sometimes they're taken away by wicked people who know how to do this in this life, and they do it through Reem. Other times it's actually angels can take people. It depends on what the argument's about, depends on a lot of things. But the life is much more complex than just this life here where we interact with each other. And the cults know how to get people frightened and then believing that the only answer is themselves or other people who are using evil. it should be obvious that that's not the answer, but a lot of people, they just don't know. You just don't know, an awful lot of you. And you need holy, you need real goodness to check out evil. So I want people to understand the Bible and the Bibles, the real ones. I hate BA. It's ruined my life in personal ways. It's killed an awful lot of people. It's killed a lot of people. Killed my papa. It's killed a lot of people in this world. Are gone. Babies, toddlers, children gone because they got sick, because it's just a lot of distress that is caused by BA. And BA doesn't want to do the nice thing that you want. You want your secrets hidden. Evil doesn't want your secrets hidden. It wants you destroyed. It wants everybody destroyed. And there are human beings who want everybody destroyed so that no one can ever criticize them ever again. No one can ever bring them to book in holily or unholily. They know how to sway people's... Hypnotism is real. So in order to be free from the being hypnotized into BA, you need to keep holy yourselves often throughout the day. However you do it, it's just saying holy in your mind, it does it. But you need to subscribe to the ways of true goodness, of genuine holiness. You need to believe that the Creator is able. And if you don't have faith in the Creator and you're following the Netr, you need to understand that they are holy. They're not going to do evil for you. They're not going to justify your horrible injustice, your untrue accusations. They're not going to justify it. They hate evil. But God is love, and we have a chance to pray. Whether we're in this life or already passed into the next life, we have a chance to pray. God is love. And I don't want to leave on a down note, but these subjects, you know they're serious because people are dying. And some of you are grieving. And so holy is the answer to the world's problems. Holy gets you nicer government policies.